Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about a technique that is developed by Sir Alec Jeffrey, genetist in 1985. He pioneered this technique that is called as DNA fingerprinting to identify for the identity testing purpose. For the identity testing purpose. So it mainly deals with the specific sequence of a nucleotide that is present within the chromosome. Now, the chromosome is mainly on chromosome there are some loci or the location of nucleotide sequences present. If it is made up with a long nucleotide bases, that part is actually responsible for expressing itself into a functional protein. That part is called as gene. While on the same chromosome, a small short nucleotide sequence can also be present, which do not express into a functional protein, and that part is called as junk DNA. Okay, junk DNA. Now, these genes are mainly responsible for expression of different protein that ultimately perform different function, that is physiologically, metabolically, and physically. And such part of gene is mainly contributing 1 to 2% of all the base pair that is present within the genome. While this junk DNA, which is not coding for any functional protein, is made up with this 98 to 99% of total genome. Isn't it a surprising fact? But it is true. Another important, interesting factor related to these genes is that this coding DNA, this is also called as coding DNA, is 99.9% similar within all the human, while this junk DNA is only 0.1%, while 99.9% similar. Coding DNA is similar by 99.9%. So there is a probability of 0.1% of dissimilarity among the individuals. 0.1% dissimilarity, isn't it? So, and this dissimilarity is contributed by this junk, non-coding DNA. And this DNA fingerprinting or DNA profiling mainly deals with this 1% of dissimilarity between the individual. Fine. So, Sir Alec Jeffrey mainly proposed this technique for the identity testing, which is mainly deal with this 0.1% of dissimilarity. Now, let's go in more detail of these gene and junk DNA, because we know that whether it is a gene or whether it is a junk DNA, they must be formed with some nucleotide, isn't it? Now, if we talk particularly about the junk DNA, these junk DNA can be 3 nucleotide base repeats like AGC, AGC on the same chromosome of individual one, or chromosome of any individual, suppose it is A, and it can be of AGC, T, AGC, T, AGC, T. It can be of 4 nucleotide base long, or it can be of 5. Now, but on the same chromosome. So that's why we can say that these repeats are dissimilar in the number of their repeats, that is their frequency, or it can also be possibility that On individual C, it can be AGC. Same repeat is present, AGCT, AGCT, AGCT and AGCT. Here it is present by 4 times. Here it is C, in C it is 4 times. In the repeat that is present in B is 3, while in A it is only 2. Oh sorry, it is again 3 or 3. So we can say that they are differ by a number of copy number. They are differ by a copy number. So as in the ratio of purine and pyrimidine, that is ATGC. Also on that basis the length get varied. The length get varied. And these repeats, that's why, because they are back to back, that is they are present back to back, that means tandem, and they are varying, so they are called as variable number tandem repeat. They are short repeat, shorter than the gene, but they are present surely within the genome. Now let's try to understand this DNA fingerprinting by relating it with a story. Suppose there is a crime. Suppose there is a diamond from a jewelry shop get stolen from this box. Earlier it was a diamond is present within this box, but it got stolen by someone, and mainly there are two person who were suspected in this case. And I have found some blood drop near this box. So I took these blood sample, and blood was collected from these two individuals, A and A dash. Now what I will do with this these sample, I am going to isolate DNA from the from all the three sample with the help of different enzyme like nuclease, like RNase, protease, lipase and some other chemical. I got the DNA from all the three sample, fine, from all the three sample. Now I am going to chop it with the restriction endonuclease, that is the molecular scissor. I am going to chop it, and after this chopping I got a few fragment, isn't it? Now I load it on this suppose although it is performed with all the chromosome, but here to explain it more easily, I am going to take some only one chromosome. Suppose it is chromosome number 20 for all of the three sample. Now what will be happen, I chopped it with the restriction endonuclease and then put them on inside the well of gel electrophoresis, and applied electric field. So what will be happen, since DNA is a negatively charged molecule, so it will move from negative side to positive side, and the bulkier fragment will remain toward the well as it move lesser, while the lighter fragment or the smaller fragment moves farther from the negative charge, as it attracted by the positive charge, positive electrode, and because of its small size it can move farther, isn't it? And with the A dash we got a pattern of like this. Fine. And this is from the blood sample that I have collected. Now after this gel electrophoresis, what I am going to do next is I am going to transfer these fragments on a nitrocellulose membrane with the help of southern blotting. As blotting is called, is meaning is transfer. So after southern blotting, nitrocellulose membrane, we got a pattern or DNA fragment on nitrocellulose membrane. Now these these fragments get hybridized. I am going to hybridize these fragment with a probe, or which actually is a complementary nucleotide sequence to these fragment that is already radioactively labeled. Fine, already radioactively labeled. So radioactively labeled. So now here, next what I am going to do is going to visualize all these DNA fragment by technique that is called as autoradiography. And by performing autoradiography of all the pattern of related to different sample, we can easily identify, or we can easily make we can easily compare these pattern of DNA fragment from different biological sample, and we can conclude that actually which suspect is actual thief, would be a thief of that diamond, or is found to be criminal. Okay, so this is the one application that we use. That's why we use DNA fingerprinting in solving different criminal cases. Also, we can find paternity with the same technique by performing the same step and by isolating DNA from the child and the suspected father, and we do all the steps similarly, and by comparing the DNA fragment, comparing the pattern of fragment from the DNA of child and father, we can identify the father of that child. So these are the two important application related to DNA fingerprinting. Now one more point that is related to DNA fingerprinting, that it is also called as DNA profiling, genetic profiling, identity testing, and genetic fingerprinting. Yeah. So these are the other names of this technique.